Hey, good news, everybody. The port strike here in New Jersey has ended. So apparently they've come to terms of agreement and the protests have ended, and now everyone can go back to their lives. I don't like to sound like a doomsdayer and this and that, and not that I was saying anything was going to come about this port strike, but my point always is, and I think a lot of conspiracy theorists, so-called, I think their point is that you always got to be prepared, because the last thing you want is to be caught up in a situation where you have to panic buy. 4 years ago, I made it a habit so when I go to the store that I spend a little extra money on whether water and canned goods, in particular foods that have like a long shelf life, and that tends to be canned food, stuff like that. And of course stuff maybe you could freeze, but if you have no electricity, then that's going to be a problem. So I made it a habit since 4 years ago to do that, and it's panned out well, because now that in 2024, so in 2020 I had way more money than I did now, because I was living with my parents. I wasn't paying bills. I've lived on my own now for almost 3 years, so I do have bills to pay. 2024 has been the hardest year financially for me. I mean, and I think I've shared this. I lost my job in May randomly, just randomly fired me. And I started a new job recently, but I mean, it was a hardship for me. It really truly was, because not only did that affect my income, but like I said, my bills I'm paying bills now. I'm not living with my parents. And not even just that, it's every year my bills get more expensive. Things don't get cheaper, as a lot of you know. So 2024 has been the year of financial hardship for me, and good thing that I had all this canned goods, and I still have so much more. Good thing I had all those, because those have really came in handy. And yeah, they might not be the most healthy. I mean, I try to get the healthiest canned goods, because they might be a little processed, some of it, but at least some of it high in protein. I mean, some of it high in fiber. It's got some nutrition in it, and it's better than nothing. But they've really panned out well for me, because now that I'm not going to the store as much, because I don't feel like spending $150 on a full shop, for someone like myself. It's gone well for me. And if let's just say for someone like me, the port stop running, trucks stop running to the stores, huge food production shortages or whatever, plants blow up, facilities that produce food blow up, or whatever it might be, like, you gotta understand, I'm not going to be running to the stores, because I've been preparing as best I can. I don't have a crazy amount, and I live alone. I don't have wife, girlfriend that lives with me. I don't have kids, anything like that. So I have what I need for myself, and I have stuff to barter with. It's not just food and water. I have stuff to barter with. I'm not one of these crazy prepping people that has it all figured out, or that has all these crazy gadgets to survive. I'm not. But I have the necessities, okay? And I have somewhat of a plan of what I could do, or where I could go if I can't be in my apartment anymore, or shit is really hitting the fan at where I'm at. And the thing about where I live at is I'm from an area that's in New Jersey that's a lot more populated than where I live now. Where I live is not nearly as populated as where I'm from, because I grew up around New York City, that area, and now I'm in the western part of Jersey, to where I just said this in my previous video, it's the most dead part of Jersey. So as long as you understand the simplicity of it, you don't have to have all these crazy survival gadgets, or have all this crazy knowledge on how to survive. Will it help? Absolutely. The more educated you are, absolutely, it's going to help. But you don't have to panic or worry about these things if you are prepared. Especially investing, if you're talking about finances, you want to invest in precious metals. That's the only thing you should be investing in right now, financially, is precious metals. Stuff to barter with, even like maybe certain foods would be good, or tobacco, marijuana, alcohol, drugs, probably good stuff to barter with, So it's just better to be prepared than to not be prepared. That's all I'm trying to say. And a lot of conspiracy theorists, a lot of mainstream ones, especially on X or whatever, they make a living, and they make the reason why they have a following and they keep their following entertained is because they promote fear. They promote stuff like that. And you gotta understand, some of the stuff I say and talk about might sound like fear, or it's negative, because honestly, a lot of it is a little negative. But you have to acknowledge this stuff. You can't be delusionally positive and ignore these things that are happening, because we're living in crazy, unprecedented times where, quite frankly, we don't know what the next crazy thing we're going to see is. I don't have to remind people about the Trump assassinations. Like, they're prepping you for something to happen with him. They're psychologically conditioning you for something to happen with Trump and for something weird to happen politically, something that we probably have never seen before politically. If you haven't figured it out, the reason why a lot of conspiracy theorists, because there's genuine ones and there's ones who are just trying to make a business module off of it. What we're all trying to get you to realize is your government has forsaken you. The United States government does not care about you. It's very obvious. I mean, this is a very obvious first grade level common sense thing, that the government does not care about you. If they cared about you, they wouldn't income tax you, and they wouldn't tax you on everything you do, and they wouldn't even discuss right now talking about a carbon tax, which I'm sure will be here by 2030 or something. But they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't constantly lie to you. Not only whatever politician it is, whether it be Trump, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama, the George Bushes, Bill Clinton, whoever it might be, Hillary Clinton. I mean, they're all lying when they speak. Anytime their mouth is moving, they're lying. They 99% of the time, they don't tell you the truth. And people are so brainwashed into thinking Trump is the good guy and the savior. I mean, it's wild what we see going on politically. So there's people who are never going to be able to see the truth for what it is. But what conspiracy theorists are trying to get the average person to see, because I think there's more people who are in between than there is who lean more right or left. You know what I mean? Like, there's more people who are just independent, or whatever you call it, who just don't even care because they see the craziness of politics. I think a lot of people are closeted Trump people because Trump seems like they make the conservatives seem a little more normal than the liberals. But look at this. Look at the event that happened in North Carolina recently and Tennessee, and this big storm that's wiped out towns. And the government is not helping them. They are barely helping them. They are doing the bare possible minimum to help them. But they gave $8 billion to Ukraine. They gave $8 billion to Israel. They gave $10,000 debit cards or whatever to illegal immigrants. Free health care to them. Free food, free housing, all this stuff. And look at Americans here who are struggling, who have no future really, because they're being priced out ultimately. Your government has forsaken you. They do not care anymore. They're making it clear at this point. It's not because they're trying to make it seem political and be like, oh, it's the Democrats that are so bad and this wokeness, which obviously we're all tired of the wokeness. We're tired of all that stuff. Everyone is. But they're making it seem like it's the liberals and the Democrats that are doing all this. They don't care. They're anti-American. They're communists. Yes, they are. They certainly are. But guess what? The conservatives are too. Just listen to what Trump is doing and what he wants to implement. It goes hand in hand with what the New World Order wants. It's what the international bankers want, who control all the big corporations, who control the politicians, who control the Fed, who control the World Economic Forum, and all these places, right? The WHO, the CDC, all these places that the international bankers control ultimately. They control Trump and they control the liberals as well. You are looking at the fall of a country. They are the reason why things don't make sense anymore is because it doesn't have to make sense anymore. That's the whole point. They don't need to make sense with what they do because they want it to not make sense. And when I say they, I'm talking about your government, who's also affiliated with the mainstream media, who is ultimately, all these people are controlled by the Federal Reserve, the stakeholders in the central bank here in the United States. They are calling the shots because they own the media and they own your politicians, they own your government. And they're done with the United States. They finished all their agendas here, and now they're just collapsing it. They're just waiting on the opportunity to collapse it. Hence, these wars going on in the Middle East. Hence them making it so clear with the North Carolina events and the Tennessee events that they don't care. And they're making it political, but it has nothing to do with who's in office. They're making it clear that they have forsaken Americans. And they want to make it clear. They want to get some sort of uprising out of us. But it's not happening because Americans, quite frankly, don't care. They love the system that they have come to know and love, even though it's never been the same since COVID. They love it so much that they don't want to let it go. They don't want things to change. They can't imagine a change in the world. They can't imagine it, especially Americans. They cannot imagine things changing from what they are now, because they've come to love it. They want to go to work, they want to make money, they want to be priced out. I mean, I don't know, they just want to comply. They have been psychologically trained to be slaves so well, the Americans, that they're probably not going to revolt. And it's going to have to take some wild stuff to get reactions out of Americans. And I mean most Americans, not just some. But it's going to have to take a lot for most Americans to start being like, all right, and now we got to do something. And that's what they want. They want us to turn on each other. That's the goal. The powers that be, they want wars in the Middle East. They want the U.S. to get involved. They want us clashing with each other, citizens clashing. They want us clashing with illegal immigrants. They want looting. They want robbing. They want murder. I mean, they want chaos. That's why things are not making sense anymore. Because it doesn't need to make sense. Because the New World Order is the goal is flipping everything upside down. Good is evil. Evil is good. Truth is a lie. The lie is now truth. And you can see in today's world that that's what's happened. The truth to the majority of people is a lie. And lies have been accepted by the majority of people as the truth. People have been demoralized. People have been desensitized. People have been spiritually bankrupt. And I'm guilty of falling victim to all these things. But if someone like me, who's really not even that smart, to be honest, can realize these things and come out of them, I think you can too. And I think most people can, honestly. I mean, I have hope in most people, but I don't know anymore. Because no matter what, no matter how much like shit happens, because I've been talking about all this stuff since 2017. That's when I started talking about, New World Order, all these things that have come true over time. Even though it happens slowly, people just don't realize it. And I think worst of all, people see it, but they just don't want to acknowledge it. So, and that goes with the pride of the people, the ego, and the cowardness of people, the laziness, and the ignorance, really, of people, most people. So that's where I'm getting at here. I know I said a lot, but really, the reason why things aren't making sense is because they're not supposed to make sense. It's because if you're just a normal person who's a good person, good morals, good values, you'll see by looking at the world what's promoted and what's going on is degeneracy. And that's the future. That's what they want. So, listen, like I said, you have to be prepared for stuff like this. You really, truly do. Because no matter what, I'm not gonna stop talking about what conspiracy theorists have been saying, because it's ultimately true. What they want, it might not happen tomorrow, it might not happen this year, it might not happen next year, but the point is it's coming. And I mean, we feel it, man. We can't keep printing money, we can't keep raising debt, we can't keep pricing people out, we can't keep doing all this stuff in the Middle East. There's gonna be consequences to our actions. We can't keep ignoring the problems, is what I'm saying, because there's going to be consequences inevitably. So you can ignore it, but it's not helping anything. That's all I'm trying to get you to see. Anyway, I've rambled on enough here. This is your good friend Justin here. Let me know what you guys think, and please let me know what solutions you guys have besides just preparing, because at this point, besides just getting involved in your community and posting on social media, there's really not much more you can do besides just be ready. Anyway, your friend Justin. Have a strong weekend.